Hello, everybody. I am Sun Psychic Jean. Please welcome my very special guest today, Ellen Edmondson. Hi, Ellen. How are you?
Good. How are you? I'm so happy to be back with you.
I'm glad. I'm glad. Yeah, it's so much fun being together here. And I let me just okay. So Akila B is here. Hi, Akila. Nice to see you. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. And what Ellen and I wanted to talk a little bit about. Ellen has been on the channel a couple of times. She has written a book called A Place of Love and Light, and she has so many. Um, Really, it's an amazing book, and we're going to be sharing this a trailer for her book at the end of the show here. But some of the concepts are just so important. I asked her back to see if she wanted to discuss a little bit about um, what it means to connect to our higher wisdom, to connect to our higher self, and um, and what that means and what that might look like for us, and how we can maybe take steps towards this. And I see Karen Doyle is here and Lark Kemper. So nice to see you, Lark. Leah McKeah, Sherry Kirk, and Cody Mitchell. Very nice. Thank
Hello.
you, everybody, for being here. Um, so, one of the first things I wanted to, Ellen and I were talking a little bit backstage, and I had said, one of the most profound lessons that I had learned about connecting to my own higher self, and it seems so simple, but it was really profound for me, is that uh, I was taught that I we are already connected to our higher selves. The thoughts, the feelings, and the intuitions and the guidance that we feel is our instinct. All of these things are already connected to our higher selves. What we may, the way that we make decisions, what pushes us towards either wearing a red shirt or a blue shirt. These things are connected to our higher selves. So if there's small things and there's large things that come through when it's time for us to make decisions or to just our own thought process. We're already connected to that higher being, that higher sense of information, so to speak. So, Ellen, how about you?
Absolutely. I agree with everything that you said, Jean. We are connected. We've always been connected. And it's just really understanding that and allowing it and surrendering it to it. But part of what I feel happens is when we come into the world, these souls coming into these beautiful bodies to have this human experience and all these lessons that help to evolve us and refine us and make us help us to push us on that path. That's what we're on the path to our highest and best self. We're born that way. And the only way that we get disconnected from it is that it's what life, the experience is, how we take it, how we're taught to take those things, what the conditioning that we get around it. And it's, from the time you're born, what you get from your parents, from your families, from teachers, from school, from media, from everything around us helps to condition us to whether we allow it and listen internally to what guides us, or we're really, most people are taught to listen externally. Is that that your validation comes from outside. And when we're taught that it's external to us and is somewhere out there, we don't, we dull down, we forget to check in with ourselves and check in with, like people say, that still small voice within, that intuition within, or people want to label it Holy Spirit, whatever label you want to put on it, is connecting with that inner part of yourself. And that's part of what my book talks about, is like when you go within a place, and the book is A Place of Love and Light. And that title comes from when we go within and we check in with ourselves and we get connected with our soul. That's our meeting place with our higher source. That's where we're meeting. That's where that still small voice comes in. That's the guidance that we get. And we're being guided in every single moment of every day, whether we realize it or not. And we just have to open and surrender to it, allow it and surrender to that and know it. And once you know it, You know that everything that's coming to you, whether you perceive it as good or not good or bad, it's all refining you and it's all pushing you on your path to your highest good. You just have to look at it in that way. What am I meant to get out of this experience, whether it's good or not good? And how is that going to lead me to a better place? Because everything is leading us to that better place.
I'm glad you said that, Ellen. And it was it was it's apparent to me that when we're listening to our higher self or guidance, or it's often sort of trying to push us a little bit outside of our comfort zone. It's nudging us to do something that maybe we wouldn't um, do for ourselves, so to speak. Like, oh, it's something that's easily disregarded, in a sense that if you know you're supposed to do something and you're sort of not doing it, your higher self will say, okay, it's time to do it. Okay, you need to do this. Okay, it'll be that little nudge, that little push outside of your comfort zone. You said to yourself that you were going to walk every day this week. Now it's time to walk. And then, it's that little internal struggle that I did say that to myself. I wanted to be authentic and true to myself, and I wanted to go out for a walk, but now I'm not really feeling up to it. It's that higher self. It's that, okay, you said you were going to do it. It's pushing just outside of our comfort zone. And we're not saying take big leaps. We're not saying change your career overnight. We're saying just face in that direction. Just have a forward motion in that direction to slowly move into that direction.
Yeah, and it's following the breadcrumbs. Is when you get quiet and you start looking at listening to what is really resonating in your heart and within you, and then also entrusting that, and then synchronicities in life that are happening are signs. Those are not by chance circumstance or occurrences. They're You're being led. You're constantly being guided to what you're meant to do. And like I said, even in situations where you think that it's something is happening that it's bad, it's actually refining you, because you can't, for instance, like you can't build courage without being put in situations that make you courageous. You can't build resilience if you're not put in situations where you're tested and you have to be resilient. You can't exercise that muscle if you're not putting in, sometimes in challenging situations or things. I always say this, it's not bad, it's growth. It's not right or wrong. It's not good or bad. It's growth and evolution. It's learning. It's how am I becoming better? And as you look at that, as you're becoming better and you learn that lesson, you're moving to that next level of the path towards your highest and best self, because everything is taking you in that direction.
That's beautiful. That's really beautiful.
Well, Jane, do you,
Um,
I wanted to read, because I think surrendering is such a big part of this. I wanted to read one
yes.
of the readings from the book, because that's when this information came through. They were inspired writings, and this is what Jean wanted to talk about today. I was so happy she asked me back, because this is just something, it's throughout the themes in the book and very passionate about it. But talking about this allowing and surrendering, I wanted to read one of the writings in here, and it's called Surrender to the Possibilities. And it's surrender to the possibilities that exist for you. Let go of trying to figure everything out and let the truth within you guide your way. Each of you is a unique creation. No one is an expert on your life but you. By seeking answers outside of yourself, to tell you how to live your life, you give away your personal power. Each person is a powerful co creator working in partnership with God, divine love, who knows exactly what you need and what you need to do at any moment. Quiet your mind and check in with who you really are, what you truly desire, and what feels right for you in any situation, what resonates with your inner being, your soul. The best answer always reveals itself and leads you where you need to go. Remember, like you, others are on the same journey trying to figure things out. Know that there's no right or wrong answer in life, just experiences for your personal growth and the spiritual expansion of your soul. As you embark upon the unfolding of your life, slow down, find your voice, and listen to God's voice among the chatter of life. Align these co creative voices as you are connected and operating as one. Then surrender to the flow of life and stay open to the endless possibilities that exist for you to unleash the vast potential that resides within you.
Wow. Wow. That's really beautiful. Ooh. And that's part of the journey too, is to trusting ourselves, trusting that once we are quieted enough and understand what part of it is really just our own desires, uh, uh, our own choices, our own decisions from within. It's really important to trust that. And sometimes we're so influenced by external influences, or what other people might say, or what other people are doing. We often will discount our own thoughts and feelings or instincts against what other people are doing, or what other people may have displayed or told us what to do. It's a journey, everybody. It's a journey, and it's a moment by moment journey. And as we learn to trust that voice, as we learn to trust ourselves and to make decisions and stand in our power, then this becomes more of a co-creation that Ellen was talking about, that we can work each day and each moment co-creating. And it is a journey. It is. And it's a beautiful one. It's a very beautiful one. I think that one of the first things that I also wanted to say is that it's important to understand who we are here in this world. And I say this a lot on my show, that we are this divine spark inside of a human container, inside of a physical container. And this divine spark is who we truly are. And this divine spark is connected to a higher self, or a oversoul, or a larger, or a spirit, and a soul on the other side. And a part of this is contained within us. And this is where we get our knowledge. This is where we get our guidance. This is where everything that is connected to the universe is found, is within this divine spark. And it is inside each and every one of us. And it is as unique as each and every one of us. And I'm not sure where in history that humanity wanted to like be all the same, but we're so unique. And the uniqueness is what creates that fabric, that beautiful creation, that beautiful harmonious type of uh, uh, co-creation, and the way that we could all work together. And that if we were all this way, if we were all, Wall Street, you know, uh, moguls, then who would run the restaurants? It's really important for us to uh, embrace our uniqueness.
Absolutely, 100% agree with you, and because that is important. All the variety, the diversity, the uniqueness of life is what comes together to make that beautiful tapestry of it's all coming together to just display the beauty of and fullness of what life is meant to be, and what we as souls have signed up to experience when we get here. And so, we're meant to just embrace those differences. And I love what you said, Jean, because you're absolutely 100% right on. We're all here to have our own unique experience and to share our light with each other, our unique light with each other, because we're constantly lighting the way for those that we're with now, but also lighting the torch of the way for the future generations, in how life is evolving, the universe is evolving. And it's all based on love. That's the thing. Everybody here is a spark of the divine. We're all a spark of love. And we were born as love, we exist as love, and we'll return to love. The only reason that things get off in our world, or that people get disconnected, it's just the disconnection when we're taught out of, or conditioned out of the fact that we are love, as we're born as children, as little babies coming into the world. But then as we start getting conditioned into society, and we start getting conditioned into the world, that's when the layers of I'd say like our false identities and our false selves start coming on us. And we start getting the feedback of like others' expectations for us. We start hearing how, we're not worthy or we're not enough if we don't, or we don't fit in if we don't wear a certain clothes when you're teens, or we're not with the certain friends. And, as you're growing up, if you don't have a certain job or you don't live a certain place, we start putting all these other things that pile on this false reality that we're not enough. And a lot of times we've got to peel those layers back to come back to the understanding that we are at the core of us, that spark of that divine. We are all love. We're all here with a purpose and with a mission and we need to show up with passion to share our uniqueness, because the world needs everybody's uniqueness, everybody's unique spark. That's what makes the beauty of it all. So I love what you said, Jean, about that all of this comes together and it just makes this beautiful tapestry of life that we're all meant to experience.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. That was really nice. So I wanted to say hello to Cody. He said the way of thinking as well, how we can be in flow and not get caught up in our emotions, but rather work with them and understand them and transmute them to something more positive.
Yeah.
The way of thinking.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, Yeah, it's sometimes when I feel as though when you're saying that, Cody, when you say when we get caught up in our emotions, what I feel that you might be referring to is sometimes our ego or our rational or our uh, the 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 mind, this the part of us that judges, and that's the part of the emotion that you're talking about, that we get caught up in our judgments rather than working and allowing and accepting and understanding that this is all a bigger lesson, that not to sort of place blame or point fingers, but to work in spite of the obstacles or the confrontations that might be coming up. Um, yeah, and transmute that into something more positive, into maybe perhaps understanding the bigger picture or the lesson that is connected to that.
Yeah.
Um,
And I feel that if even with transmuting, if we're each person is here to be of service to the world, and I feel that and to each other, we're all brothers and sisters in humanity. I mean, that's what we are. And if we were to keep that humanity in mind, and as we serve each other, that's one thing I wake up every day and I'm like, how may I serve today? How may I serve and who may I serve? And you show me, as tapping into that higher, how can I be of service? And even if that's just a smile, a hello, holding the door, sending a note, making that call, sending flower, whatever it may be, just there's no act that's too small that's of service. And when you can start looking at how you can serve others, it's hard to judge others. It's hard to be in judgment when you're coming from that space and that notion. That's a loving place. It's a positive place to be. And that's where we can start transmuting some of those thoughts that make us judge others or even ourselves. What's the most loving thing I can do for myself in this moment when you're feeling down? How can I love myself? What's the most loving thing I can do? And then do it, because we're meant to love ourselves, and the more love we give ourselves, it helps us to give that love to others. When we can see that humanity and that God spark, if we can stay focused on that with each other, with ourselves first, and with everyone else.
yeah, that's one of my big things that I like to talk about a lot is the self-awareness and the self-forgiveness and the allowance, acceptance. There was a reading I did the other day on one of the shows I did, and um, the uh, the querent was asking, how to move forward, or what would be moving forward. And I said that, let's say, for instance, if she wanted to buy a house, and let's say she was 35, and she would say, well, I'm already 35. I'm never going to be able to buy a house now. Like, we often sort of talk ourselves, we tell ourselves the end of the story without the story being ended yet. And some of these things that we talk about, some of these things that we say to ourselves, is our egoic mind or our fear based mind that is uh, perhaps propelling us or causing us to feel this way, to tell ourselves the end of that story. So it's really important to allow um, more of the flow that you were talking about. Um, I'm sorry, it was Cody. Cody was talking about the flow, to allow the flow, that we are being guided each day, that it's not for us to make a determination in the future without allowing for the future to unfold. We are co-creating. It's not all said and done. It's not because of this, then this will happen. It's never too late. We don't know what the future is going to be. And to giving ourselves the benefit of the doubt and letting ourselves off the hook, so to speak, or forgiving ourselves for maybe not being where we expected to be, and to kind of accept ourselves for where we are today, and allowing this flow to continue. It would really free us up from a lot of this. But this is typical. Would you find that as well, Ellen?
Yes, absolutely agree. That's 100% agree with what you said. That is typical, and it goes back to when I was mentioning about the conditioning. We get so much that we take in, and we don't even realize how much we are conditioned with what we receive from our external environment. That is not always validating the specialness that we are, because everyone's meant to be unique, but a lot of things want to push people to conformity and towards sameness. And with that, when you push people toward conformity and sameness, that's where judgments can come in. We judge ourselves because we're judging ourselves for not measuring up to some other standard that has been put out there. That really, I always say there's no perfection. There's only one you. So there's nothing you have to measure up to or be or do except you. You're just special and unique the way you are. But when we get in these comparisons, when we get into looking at somebody else is doing more or better than we are, but you have to trust that you're exactly where you are at that moment for a reason in this time. And what's meant for you is going to come to you. Then you can release judgments, and you can release comparisons, and you can release some of that conditioning that you pick up, and you can just sit in a space of loving yourself and even those around you, and being happy for those around you for where they are with things. And I think that it's that mindset shift, and that, like, peeling back the layers of the onion and shedding some of the false realities that we build up around ourselves, because just living in this external world and the conditioning
Mhm.
we take on.
Mhm. And sometimes trust is pushing outside of our comfort zone, and
Hmm.
trusting ourselves is trusting the unknown, being relaxed, or being comfortable with the unknown is really such a powerful state of being. Because it is allowing whatever to be created, and for us to know what's going to happen next week, or know what's going to happen next month, or know when we're going to graduate college and get married. It's tempting, and it's okay to have plans and to have a future thought, but to allow what how life unfolds miraculously. I mean, there are miracles each and every day, and to trust that what is meant for us will come to us, will be guided through us. And that trust is it's hard for us because we haven't been taught this, standing in our power and being that co-creator and watching the cause and effect happen. And yeah, so yeah,
Yeah.
I did want to go on a little bit, but I wanted to. So would you, Ellen, say there are some practices or techniques or little things that we can do to help build our trust with our own power, our own co-creative power?
Sure. For me, I think there's some. I think people need to, all of us need to work with, and this is something I do work with people on. I know that you do too, Jean. Is just getting them to understand like how to connect into that their intuition. That's your internal GPS. That's that connecting place that you have with the universe, with your source. That of listening to that, and I think slowing down is a big thing, is slowing down and taking time to create the space where you can listen, because we're all being talked to all the time. It's just how many people are really listening, are really slowing down to take it in, you, by how you feel, what your heart is telling you. You need to slow down and really take stock of that. So I tell people meditation is one of the things I think is a huge practice, is slowing down, taking time to sit with yourself. How many people really do that? Just sit with yourself, turn off all the devices, turn off, just make a date with yourself to tune in and just really listen, get quiet, and what is resonating with you on, if you have a problem or something that you're facing, what feels right to you? What is the most loving thing and right to do in that situation? So I think that's a big thing, is slowing down, checking in with yourself, creating that space to check in with yourself. And when you do that, I feel like you naturally start to understand and letting go of others' expectations. That's another big one, because others' expectation drives a lot of decisions that people make and how they live their life. I don't want to let down my parents, or I don't want to let down my spouse, or I don't want to let down, this friend or that friend. But if it doesn't feel right for you and it's not resonating for you, then make the choice that's best for you, because that's what's going to help you to move along. You start trusting more. And the more you do that, the more you make the choices and sit in that space and listen to what's resonating for you, because those are the prompts that you're being guided to that path of your best self and your best life. And if you start following that more and you listen to that voice more, you start noticing how I mentioned before about some of the synchronicities and things that start showing up in your life. And that's just your validation and your confirmation on the path that you're supposed to be following. Those are the spiritual universal breadcrumbs that are being laid out for you. And so that's really, I would say that's for me, some of the biggest techniques is just getting quiet, checking in with yourself, learning to trust, and letting go of others' expectations for you. Those are some of mine. Jean, you have others that you want to add to
Yeah,
that?
yeah, yeah, absolutely. And I think that this is part of the evolution, Ellen. I think that this is part of us being here at this time, having this awareness, having this shift in this frequency for us to ask ourselves this question, to look at the rat race, to look at other people like chasing material things. And not that that's bad. It's just is that really making them happy? Is it really making us happy? And for us to be here and to change our decisions and our path forward, our action steps towards something that is in alignment with our higher self and move forward, this will help to create a new evolution of humanity. Because, I mean, we cannot keep going where we're going, and they're putting us in this cattle chute. I say they, but we may be forced to be all conformed and all the same, and have these dumbed down kind of realistic or unrealistic kind of expectations. And it's important for us to become ourselves, our unique selves, to follow our own intuition, to dance to the beat of our own drummer, in order for all of this to evolve and for humanity to evolve. I feel as though this is part of it. This is the scary part of it. We're so used to, for how many generations have we been told what to do, and saying, you do just like what your father did, and you do just like what your mother did, or it's a little scary for us to think that we can actually make up our own minds and to create our own future and to be safe in that environment and to be safe with all of the judgment that's going to be coming towards us. But you know what? Once you do it, there is no judgment. We think there's going to be judgment. That's ego telling you, oh, if we do this, everybody's going to judge us. They're not. They're going to want to follow. They're going to want to do what you do. They're going to say, look how happy she is. What is she doing? How can I do that? And it's really it's so we have so much uh, controlling us that we tend to control our own thoughts and feelings, like thinking that others would be judging us. It's that's where the trust comes in. That's where the trust that if we follow our own uh, guidance, our own desires, our own bliss, it really will lead us to a path that is meant for us.
And absolutely, and that's part. And when you walk in that trust, like what you're talking about, when you walk in that trust, which is key to everything, you start living authentically. And it's not about everyone else. It's about you living you, doing you, and being authentic. And when you're authentic, it's like your light shines and you help to light the way for somebody else, because when they see you living authentically, they're going to say, oh, it's okay for me to do what me resonates with me and not what I'm being told to do or what, it's expected of me. And that's so important, because as we move into living more authentically, just what you said, Jean, it starts to shift. And when you're living authentically, you can't help but live as love. You're living as self-love. You're living as universal love. You're tapping into that source of goodness and greatness that's within each one of us. And then we really bring forward what we're meant to bring forward to the world and what we're meant to deliver to the world. And actually, Jean, I'm going to ask you if I can read, because this was another one I had picked out that I wanted to share, that I thought that I loved when it flowed through me. And thought this would be a good one to share. It's called Know You Are Special. When you look for personal validation of who you are outside of yourself, you are subservient to your ego, which needs others to help you feel valued and justified in your ego-based perspective. Instead, go within and know from your inner self that no matter what anyone else thinks or says, you are special and have been your entire life. You are God's masterpiece, loved more than words can ever express. Every individual on the planet is a unique masterpiece. However, most people disconnect from this truth. They live as if they are unworthy and the sole director of their lives, which is never the case. Each person is a co-creator with the source of all that is good. Nothing is by chance or accident. Everything is divinely ordered, perfectly placed, and well-timed. And each experience is for your learning and growth. Every situation and circumstance shows up to help shape your heart and mind to mirror the image and likeness of divine love. All of it is to draw you into a deeper connection with your soul and your special, intimate connection with good, which is God, your higher source.
That was beautiful. And Ellen, if you could just share with us these writings that you're reading, where you channeled these through writing, is that correct?
Yes, it's about 10 collection, about 10 years worth of writings that I had done. And that was me getting quiet. I'll tell you, when this all started for me, it was an exercise in trust of what was coming to me and writing this down when these abilities opened for me. And I never would have thought that growing up in religion, I grew up Catholic, and I started getting this information. I started with automatic writing, automatic typing, and getting these inspired thoughts. And I was being guided to write them down. Well, I listened. And a lot of people get guidance. It's just whether you listen to it. And I started writing these messages that were coming, writing them down. And I was feeling guided to post them on a website. And I did. Back like 10 years ago, I started posting them, and it was only writings at the time. And I started noticing, because I told my husband, I was like, nobody's going to come visit a website with just these writings, no services. But over the years, I started seeing that people were coming and looking at these writings. And anytime there was some event in the world or something, people would come and they would start Googling, looking for positive information, and they'd find it and they start looking. So I was being guided and I started listening. And I realized me listening, although somebody else may be like, oh, this is weird and what is she doing? And I listened, and what's come out of it is it's been helping a lot of other people because that's part of my path. And if I worried about what other people thought when I was doing this and telling them I'm writing down these messages that I'm just getting from this invisible source, or that I'm a medium, or that I'm this, people would say, oh, that's strange, or that's weird, but that's my path. And I had to embrace that. And it's important for the adults to embrace this because we have to model for our children and for future generations how to stay connected to their authenticity and that internal voice and follow that intuitive guidance that you're getting. Because as you follow it, you realize that you're a touch point to help others by sharing what you have to offer. And so that's, these writings were just coming to me. And I finally put them in this collection of book, put the collection in this book. And I've been very humbled and blessed and very happy to hear the responses that I've been getting from the messages that people are reading in the book. And I'd say this is just me passing through what the universe wanted to get out to help people to shift their thinking, Jean, like what you're saying, like help elevate people to a different level of thinking and being in the world.
The
Mhm.
possibilities, and I think it's life changing, and it's altering the consciousness, and it's allowing us um, to become more of ourselves. It's almost like giving our permission. Like, you don't have to be on that rat race anymore. You can follow your own guidance. It's really, it's uplifting. It's inspirational, and it also, I think, it gives us a sense of permission to step into our own power. I think it's really uplifting. I think that I had mentioned this before on one of the last shows, that the writings also have a frequency and energy codes, so to speak, that would help us to open up our awareness, or to change our frequency ourselves. Just by listening and reading this information, it actually uh, helps us to do that, to have that shift within ourselves.
Yes, and that was when I was receiving this information, that was the way I was feeling. It's just so much pure love coming through these messages and encoded in these messages, that that's part of the intention, is that whoever's ready for them and takes them and reads them, that it's something that will actually help to elevate their energy, their vibration, frequency, and open minds, open hearts, open thinking to the possibilities of the better that can be for each individual and for the world. So that's why I feel so, I feel so blessed that I was able to get this out into the world.
Hmm. Hmm. That's beautiful. That's beautiful, Ellen. Um, so I just wanted to say hi. Thank you, everybody, for being here. And I see that Teresa was saying, exactly, if we're not who we're meant to be, then our thread in the tapestry of life can't shine out its truest beauty. How beautiful is that, Teresa?
That is
Wow.
beautiful.
Very nice, very nice. And Scott Scorpio saying, you ladies are so wise, lots of truth being spoken and resonating. Very nice. Thank you, Scott. Thank you, everybody. Um, yeah, I see that treating yourself as if you're your best friend. I think that's really important too, because we are our own, and I see that Lark actually just said that we are our own worst critic, and striving not to be our own worst critic. I think that um, you know, when we think that, oh, people would be judging us, or we can't do this because of that, I've really had, you know how spirit will give you an example before you do a show, so that you can feel what it feels like. Well, I felt what it felt like to be nudged yesterday. And I said, nah, I don't have time for that. Where really, as soon as you feel that nudge, and I didn't, I thought, well, maybe I had a choice. But if you feel that nudge, take the action,
Mhm.
take the gift, accept the the guidance, and take action. And when you do, the benefits will be more than you can imagine. And I didn't take the action. And I realized that after I did it, I was like, man, I should have done that. And I knew it was guidance, but I just was like, well, maybe I had this choice. We do have free will, we do have choice. But I could tell after I didn't do whatever it was I was being guided to do that I should have done it. And it wasn't like, um, it wasn't right or wrong. It was that it would have been better for my for everything, for you, for me, for everybody that was involved, to if I had taken that guidance. But this is something that the spirit allows us to revisit each and every day. We have these chances and these awarenesses and these opportunities to make these choices each and every day.
Yes. And Jean, I'm going to offer something to your audience that I love to tell folks to do is keep a notebook, keep a little journal. I call it like an intuition journal, or like when you get those nudges or and you act on them, just write them down and see what happens. And just kind of keep a journal of when you felt an impression like you should do something, or a synchronicity occurred, or something that you followed that you just had this hunch or this impression. And as you just kind of jot those down and you start noticing what comes out of it, either that you had an impression to do something and it became true, or like you said, Jean, you get that, maybe I should go to the coffee shop. Maybe I'll stop over, and you go there and you happen to run into a friend you hadn't seen in 20 years. Or, you take some action and this connection is made. And then you start to realize that, hey, I am being led. Things are unfolding for me. These impressions, this guidance, this inner guidance that I'm getting, or these hunches that it's actually leading me to something that is of benefit and of value to me in some way. And then that helps you to trust, as you can see a pattern of what's going on, that you are being led. We're never alone, ever. We're always being led in every single moment. It's just whether we're aware of it, whether we see the signs and synchronicities, whether we understand that's what's happening. It really doesn't matter whether you're conscious of it or not. It's happening. It's always happening. It's just
Right.
we need to open our awareness to the language of the universe in this different way that's guiding us to our best path always.
Absolutely. Ooh, and I know that it's getting started and stepping outside of that comfort zone is not always easy. And releasing the fear of judgment, or the fear of what if, or the fear of the unknown, like I said, they're really big hurdles, you guys. But taking baby steps, and maybe working with these things with maybe insignificant, um, some, not anything that's life changing, but something like what you should have for breakfast, or what color you should wear, or what street you should turn down. Just try and listen to those little nudges as we're making these little insignificant type of choices, because there are choice points. How many? I mean, there must be millions or billions of choice points throughout our life, and that we're always being guided through them. And perhaps like try and do a little experiment with yourself, with trying to follow your nudges through these insignificant ones, and maybe actually asking your higher self, or asking, um, we often say our spirit guides as well, because our higher self is guiding us. um, you know some of these insignificant choices in life, and see what happens. But it's important when the if you were to say, should I wear the green shirt or the red shirt, and it says wear the red shirt, to actually do what the guidance is saying, even though you might like the green one a little bit better, but the guidance is saying red. Trust, it's that trust in doing that. And I mean, that's very insignificant, but like going to the coffee shop and whether you should stop at the drive-through or go to the other one that it's telling you to go to, that you thought of when you said you wanted to go to the coffee shop, that's the one to go to. Like, trust your instincts, trust that guidance, and follow through and actually doing it. Really does solidify and puts the power back into your own hands and your own heart so that you can do it again. But each day it starts anew. We all have another opportunity to do it.
100%. That's absolutely agree with you, Jean. So,
So Lark Kemper is saying regret nothing, regret nothing, regret nothing. Ooh, that's right. Just keep moving forward. It's important for us not to beat ourselves up about what happened yesterday. It's all lessons. It's all lessons, and to be grateful.
and see, the whole thing is there's nothing to regret, because if you've learned from it, and that's the key, is like what you said, Jean, is looking for the lessons. If you've learned from it, and if it's helped you to evolve and grow to a new understanding of what you would do or not do the next time, there's nothing to regret. You've just moved to another level of understanding that's helping to take you to another step closer on your best path, and the path that you're meant to lead. So there's never really regrets. It's growth and evolution. Growth, evolution, and learning. That's really what it's about. And if you think of it in that way, in those terms, and stay focused on it in that way, you always know it helps you to understand just to love yourself through it. It's okay. And you keep moving to that next greater awareness and step for yourself.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Um, it's a beautiful it's a beautiful life, and it's a magical experience, and it's very enchanting, and it really does put ourselves into perspective. We're not here to solve the world's problems. We're only here to uh, work on ourselves and improving ourselves each day. It's really, I mean, it is important to be aware, but it's important to understand what we are in control of, and where our best, uh, what, where we can apply ourselves and help other people the best, be of service the best. And by working with our connection, working with our awareness, and opening up to the guidance, will help others. And being the example will help others as well.
Yeah.
Um,
It's all a process. Life is, um,
yeah. So
right.
Teresa's saying, yes, stop shaming our past self, and just because you've learned to be better, or
Yeah,
to learn to be better. Yeah. Hmm.
that's right. That's right. And it's all, life is a process. That saying, life is a journey. And it's a really, we're here to experience as much joy and fulfillment and contentment and being of service to others. And so the process each day is just, like I said, what did we learn, how we evolved, and how have we served others, and how much joy have we, this whole journey isn't, not meant to suffer through life. We're in, when you move through it and you understand that, like we mentioned, all the, any challenge that you have is making you better, and you're here to embrace the love and be of service to others. It's a whole, you experience life in a whole different way. You can be kinder with yourself. You can be even kinder and forgiving for yourself and for others, because that's the other thing, is everyone's on the same journey that you are. Nobody has all the answers. Nobody understands. The wisdom of the universe is so huge and big, and it's greater than the human experience, that we have to walk in forgiveness every day for ourselves and for each other, because we are going to make our, what we perceive as missteps, and that's okay. And there's no perfection. It's all just part of us experiencing different aspects of life, of ourself, of another person, learning to embrace the good parts of that, let go of the rest of it, and just walk in understanding that the journey is meant to be positive and uplifting if we can look at it from that way and let go of the other stuff. And we walk in love. This is a love walk journey is really what it's about. And when you learn that and when you can embrace that and you walk in love of self and others and for our planet, it changes everything. It changes the whole dynamics. It shifts everything, the consciousness up to a higher state.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where we
And
want to go.
I also received these messages and lessons from loved ones on the other side. I had a gentleman come through speaking to his daughter, and he says, you know, lift those burdens. Don't worry about so much that, have fun. Enjoy this life. Walk on this earth and breathe this air and talk to each other and laugh and have fun and eat food. All of these things that are so magical and wonderful in this life. And we hold ourselves down and have these burdens put on us and restrict ourselves so much where really they want us to uplift these burdens. And that's the forgiveness that you said that really triggered this memory. And he's like, forgive what has happened in the past. We're all learning. We're all just toddlers trying to figure out which way to go. You wouldn't holler at a toddler for falling after just trying to learn how to walk. We're learning how to walk. It's important to let it go and try not to hold on to all of those judgments of ourselves and our past. The past is really important to forgive and also to let it go and
Mm-hmm.
to really try and live in that joy, live in um, that magical place of enjoyment. And he was so I'm not sure if the burden was from his passing, but he's saying, lift those burdens, have joy, have fun. And the way that he made me feel when he was trying to express this is that nothing really matters to hold on, to restrict ourselves, and to carry that burden. It's not necessary for us to hold on to this burden. It's really important for us to realize the beauty and the miracles that are is around us and to live life in joy. And that's what you were saying, Ellen.
Yeah. Because we're all, I think this one concept that kept coming through in the book, and I think this is so powerful, is we're all beautiful works in progress. That's all we are. And if everyone is a work in progress, you have to, like you said, you don't hold on to anything. You can forgive everybody for anything they've done wrong because we're all just trying to evolve and learn and grow to our next best self. And no, there is no perfection. Nobody's meant to get anything right because it's just experiencing the process and growing and evolving together and doing it in a way that we shine who we are in that moment, because who we are in this moment is going to be different from who we were in the past and who we'll be in the future. But we just keep shining our light, because with that, as we are all tipping points and touch points for each other, we keep making the world a better place by when we put out the way to improve the world is through self-improvement. When we improve ourselves and our mindset and our thought processes, and we uplift ourselves and forgive ourselves and be kind and know that we're a beautiful work of art, evolving work of art by the universe, by God, our source, then, and we understand that for everyone else as well, then you experience life in a whole different way. And you can experience it from a much more loving, connected, interconnected viewpoint, that life is always working on our individual behalves, but on the greater good. It's all divinely orchestrated for the greater good. It's only if we turn away from that, people turn away from that, that the less than good things start to come into the experience.
Hmm. Yeah, so beautifully said, Ellen. Oh my gosh, that's really I just love that. Thank you very much. Um, I had something and it left me. That's why I'm. But what I wanted to do, everybody, is I have a trailer for Ellen's new book that I wanted to share with everybody, and then we'll come back on and say goodbye. So hang in there. We'll be right back. I'm just gonna. This is I'm just going to play this trailer. I think I can do it. All right, we'll be right back in 1 minute, everybody. Enjoy.
In a Place of Love and Light by Ellen Edmondson. Each word is a call to the heart, a message to awaken and embrace a life of love and compassion. Through these pages, a transformative power emerges, changing lives with messages of hope and wisdom. It's an invitation to embark on a journey towards a world rich in understanding and kindness. Praised for its depth and impact, this work is an invaluable guide for those seeking spiritual awakening and a positive influence in the world. It's seen as a cornerstone for walking in spiritual light, a source of enlightenment for open minds. Offering guidance for spiritual journeys and living with purpose, the book provides insights into understanding daily divine influences and following a path of love. It serves as more than just literature. It's a journey of peace, blessings, and love, guiding readers toward a life of greater meaning and fulfillment.
That is so inspiring. Wow. Wonderful, Ellen. And Teresa says, this book is already in my Amazon cart. And Scott says, I need this book. And Karen says, wow, great movie. Wasn't that a great trailer? It was very well done and so very inspiring. And yeah, so how can we all contact you, Ellen? What is the best way for us to connect with you if somebody wants to reach out?
Well, my website is ellenedmondson.com, so you can go there. Also, social media. I have a Facebook account and Instagram, but you'll see all that on my website. So if you go there, you'll be able to get find the links to those. And then also, yes, ellenedmondson.com. And then email, of course, is ellen@ellenedmondson.com. So I love to hear from people, get feedback from them. So I would love to connect with anybody who would like to connect.
Yeah, absolutely. And Ellen has been here before. We've had amazing shows together, and I've showed everybody. We've gone into her website and all of her offerings, and she also runs a network to help highly intuitive children as well, which is amazing. So Ellen is not only an author, an intuitive, a medium, a psychic. She's amazing, and I am honored to call her my friend, and I am so grateful to her for coming here and sharing this information and knowledge with all of us. It's one of my things that I'm really passionate about, and I'm just really so grateful to you, Ellen.
Oh, and thank you for having me back, Jean. I love working with you too. It's wonderful. I love our connection, our friendship. So, and appreciate being able to talk and share with your audience.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, I will be on later on this afternoon. Everybody will be back at 4:30 with the Psychic Triad. It's our Friday night special. And then I will also be on after our Psychic Triad show, which will be on Kigaru Spiritual Journeys channel. We'll be on at 4:30 Eastern. After that, you can find me on Valerie from Illumination Portal. We're going to be going over the new moon, and that's going to be amazing. That's on Valerie from Illumination Portal's channel. So thank you very much, everybody, for being here. All of your support. We love seeing each and every one of you. And the Crone Zone, Priscilla, thank you very much for being here. Jackie Jacaranda, Karen Doyle, Peaceful Easy Feeling. I know it's a busy day. For sure. And Teresa Ford, don't forget to take dinner break. I know there's a little bit of time in between. And thanks again, everybody. Have a wonderful night. Take care.
Bye.
Thanks.